And welcome back to Bruce, who's with us now to answer your finance questions. So our first question is from Praveen.
Should I be investing in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, or is it too late?
Cryptocurrency is a buzzword. It is a trend. You should know it exists. If you think it's super interesting, you should research it. But for 99% of the population in this moment, it is irrelevant. So we talk about it all the time. You don't need to invest in it. The question that he was asking about whether or not it's too late, who knows? We have no idea how high or how far down Bitcoin may and all the cryptocurrencies may fall. If you like the game, and a lot of people love the game, play the game, with a couple $1,000s or, under 5% of your nest egg. Play the game if you love it. If you don't love the game, don't play the game. Ignore the game. Just nod knowingly and think about Italian wine when people are like, why should I invest in cryptocurrency?
I don't like the game, so I'm going to nod and think about Italian wine.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question is from Nick. What percentage of my paycheck should I be putting into savings?
Okay, 50, 30, 20 is a rule of thumb publicized by former U.S. presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren. So 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on savings. So that's a starting point. I think what you have to layer in is your life circumstances. How much money do you make? How much does it cost for you to keep a roof over your head? Do you have 0 kids or 5? So it is very, very specific to each individual family. And I think what you want to do is look at your monthly income statement, what's coming in and what's going out, and see the choices that you make such that they are aligned to what you want for your future self. And for most of us, our future self would like to be able to buy groceries when we're 85. So you want to save something for retirement. You probably want to save something in some sort of a plan B or emergency fund. And then there's a bunch of stuff that just happens as the course of living your life. Like you're going to need a new roof if you're a homeowner. You might need a new car at some point. So definitely have a savings plan. Just think about the specific areas in which you need to save and target your savings accordingly.
Okay, good tips. Up next, Bruce, we have a question from Ksenia.
So my question for you is, which account do you think is better to open? Is it better to open a TFSA account or an RSP account, or should you really consider opening both?
It depends on what your savings goal is. So let's say you're only talking about retirement savings. That's the only thing. I would open up an RSP first. A lot of debate on that, but I'd open up an RSP first because it's easier to keep the habit of retirement savings. With a TFSA, it's a little too easy to take the money out. With RRSPs, it's harder to take the money out, and that is better for you. Now, remember, a TFSA you can use for anything. So you could have a TFSA in which you save for a down payment or a vacation or whatever it is. I think most people over time, provided that you've got your head above water, you're probably going to have both because you're going to have an RSP for retirement savings, long term, and then a TFSA for other savings that you might have for a shorter period of time or maybe for retirement too. I know that's a bit of a long answer. It might seem like a cop-out, but the two accounts have different purposes. RSP, retirement first and foremost, TFSA, maybe for retirement, but also for a whole bunch of other things too.
Okay, that's good. Aisha wants to know, which is better, a fixed or variable rate mortgage?
Start with a variable rate mortgage. So start there. First, the rate, it statistically is lower over the course of time. I'm talking about over the course of decades. The second reason why I start with a variable is because it's way cheaper if you need to break the mortgage. So a variable rate mortgage could cost you, say, $3,000 to break it. It could cost you $20,000 to break a fixed rate mortgage. Now, the reason why the rates are a little bit higher is because you're paying a bit of insurance. And for some people, that insurance is really money well spent because they want to have the certainty of their payment. They don't want it to go up if interest rates rise. But if you don't need that certainty, a variable is going to give you a bit lower rate. The other thing to factor in, though, is what's going on the given day when you're renewing your mortgage, because things are shifting and changing so quickly right now. So I would find a great mortgage broker, go through all the things that you would consider as you think about a mortgage, how long it's going to take for you to pay, what your monthly payment is, how high the risk is that you might need to break it at some point, and answer the question of variable versus fixed in context. Because it's not just about the rate. That's one of the things, but it's not just about the rate. Also, there are mortgages in which you can set the payment even though it's variable. And if you do that, what happens is as rates rise and fall, the percentage between principal and interest shifts, but you do have the certainty of knowing my payment's, $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, but you could still have a variable rate and a set monthly payment. You could have your cake and eat it too.
I love to hear that. And mortgage brokers, for sure, really valuable in times like this when you're trying to figure it out. Bruce, thank you so much for your brain and your knowledge. We love it.
You're welcome.